The Gardener of Justice. It began with a roar. A blood-red sports car tore through the polished silence of Sterling family's estate, its engine a scream against the pristine morning. Inside, Maya, a housekeeper whose life had been measured in hushed footsteps and invisible tasks, gripped the steering wheel. Her knuckles were white, her heart a frantic drumbeat. Beside her, little Lily Sterling, a 6-year-old girl with a fragile grip on life, gasped for air, her tiny body turning a faint blue. Maya hadn't been a doctor or a hero, but a sudden, terrifying instinct had seized her. The intercom was dead, her phone was dead, and the paramedics were 14 minutes away. 14 minutes that Lily didn't have. In that moment of absolute panic, the Sterling family's most prized possession, a custom-built, multi-million-dollar Phoenix, became not a symbol of wealth, but a vessel of hope. She smashed the glass case, grabbed the keys, and drove like a mother, a protector. She raced through the streets of Havenwood, a blur of red and defiance, weaving through traffic, ignoring blaring horns and red lights. A police siren joined her symphony of urgency, but she didn't stop. She waved frantically, pointing toward the hospital, a silent plea for understanding. She wasn't fleeing the law. She was chasing a chance at life. At Havenwood General Hospital, the car skidded to a halt. Maya tore open the passenger door, lifting Lily into her arms and screaming for help. A team of doctors and nurses descended, pulling the child onto a gurney. In a whirlwind of white coats and urgent commands, Lily disappeared into the trauma room. Then came the handcuffs. A young, rattled officer detained her for reckless driving and grand theft auto. As the cuffs clicked shut, Maya's eyes, filled with fear and exhaustion, met the gaze of an elderly surgeon standing in the doorway. The woman didn't see a thief. She saw a person who had acted out of love, a person who had risked everything, because no one else had been there to listen. Hours later, in a sterile interrogation room, Detective Jane Coleman, a woman with a face etched by experience, listened to Maya's story. "The report says you took a car you weren't authorized to drive," she stated. "Is that true?" "Yes," Maya said, her voice quiet but firm. "But I'd do it again." She wasn't breathing. 14 minutes was too long. Coleman listened without judgment. She knew what desperation sounded like. "The doctor said you saved her life," the detective said gently. "She's stable. The swelling in her brain has gone down." Relief washed over Maya, a powerful wave that brought tears to her eyes. "He'll press charges," Maya said, her voice laced with bitterness. "Mr. Sterling, all he cared about was his damn car, not his daughter." Coleman's face remained neutral. "That depends on a few things. Mr. Sterling hasn't decided yet." But she saw Maya for who she was. Not a thief, but heroine. Meanwhile, at the Sterling estate, a magnificent house of marble and glass, a different kind of storm was brewing. Charles Sterling, a man who built his empire on control and order, stared at a news report of the incident. His perfectly tailored world was cracking. Social media was ablaze with the story of the heroine housekeeper and the furious tycoon. His legal counsel, Olivia, found him in his study, a glass of bourbon in his hand. "The world is watching, Charles," she said. "The public sees a man who cares more about a car than his own daughter's life." "She stole from me," he muttered, jaw clenched. "She saved Lily's life," Olivia countered, her voice sharp. "And the world knows it. You can press charges, but you will lose. The question is, what are you going to do about it now?" Charles poured another drink. For the first time in his life, he didn't have a plan. The next day, Maya found a text message on her phone. "Can we talk?" "Hospital cafeteria. Charles." The meeting was tense. He thanked her, awkwardly. He admitted his rage at the hospital was misplaced. It wasn't about the car, he confessed. It was about losing control, about being helpless. "You were scared," Maya said, her voice steady. "But instead of checking on your daughter, you yelled at me. You called me a maid. You said I wasn't family." He was silent for a long moment, a flicker of shame in his eyes. "I need your help, Maya. Lily needs you." She whispered your name. Maya's heart ached. "I'm not coming back for a paycheck," she said, her terms clear. "If I stay, it's for her. I won't be invisible anymore. And the staff, they need to be heard." Charles, the man who had always dictated, simply nodded. "Fair," he said. "You've got guts, Maya Williams." "No," she replied with a quiet smile. "I've got boundaries." Over the next few months, the Sterling estate transformed. Maya, now the director of household advocacy, implemented a new code of conduct: dignity, fairness, and respect. She met with staff members, listening to their stories and turning their quiet whispers into a collective voice. Charles, once the absent landlord, stood by, his arms crossed, watching Maya force his eyes open. The foundation he established, named after his late wife, Rachel, became a beacon of hope for domestic workers across the country. Maya's face, once a background detail, now appeared in community centers and on scholarship certificates, a symbol of quiet courage. One crisp autumn day, Maya led a group of local children, including a now vibrant Lily, down a new stone path that wound through the estate's garden. They carried small baskets of acorns, ready for the first planting of the season. "This path is a bridge," Maya told them, her voice filled with warmth. "And these acorns are more than seeds. They are a promise." Each child placed an acorn in the soil, a symbol of growth and belonging. Charles stood by, a quiet observer, his sleeves rolled up, his hands ready for the dirt. The applause that followed wasn't for a grand gesture, but for the simple, profound act of planting hope. That night, Maya sat with her leather notebook, its pages filled with notes, stories, and pressed magnolia petals. She wrote, "Sometimes justice isn't a verdict. It's a seed planted in the soil, tended by hands brave enough to believe in tomorrow. It grows in lullabies and the laughter of children on a new path." She closed the notebook, a sense of peace settling over her. Outside, the magnolia and acorn buds slept under the moonlit sky, each carrying a quiet echo of light. The mansion, once a symbol of cold perfection, was now a home, and the woman who had been a maid was now a gardener, tending to a forest of justice that was only just beginning to grow.